Welcome, everybody. We're so glad you're here. We're so excited to have our very first challenge here in the Female Finance Collective with you. And this recording will be in the classroom. I'll show you where in a bit to allow those of you that couldn't make it live with us join in as well. But every single month, we're going to have a challenge like this. And this is our very first one. And this one is such good timing and a really fun one. So when we think about what a challenge is, it's something that's a little bit pushing us, right? It's a little bit hard, but it should be a little bit fun and have a good outcome and goal at the end. So we hope that this challenge serves that purpose for you and for us as well. We're going through the challenge with you, Jen and I are. And so this month, it's the No Spend November challenge. So with the holidays coming, we thought let's figure out how we can help each other spend less, have less stress when the holidays come and we want to spend some more. So that's kind of the background on why we're doing this challenge. We have this first live call today. We have another live call tomorrow. These are to kick off the challenge, build some excitement, teach you some things, learn about some things, and then that we're going to do through the month. And then throughout the month, we'll carry on in the classroom and community. And then at the end of the call, the end of the month, I should say, we'll have a celebration call, right? So welcome. So glad you're here. And we have 2 days of fun. Jen, do you want to give us our 2-day overview?
Sure. So today we are going to be talking about kind of more longer term financial skills. And these are skills that you can take on with you far beyond the challenge. They're not things that are meant for just these 2 days or just November, but we're going to talk about why No Spend November is important, like why we think it's a valuable challenge for you to take on. We are going to talk about making time for your money and the 50-30-20 framework. So if you're new to creating a budget and kind of setting things up in a way that we're going to talk about today, this will be a tool that you can use as a resource. And I mean, a resource is kind of a weird way to say it, but it is kind of a resource, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Sybil's going to talk all about it. So if you're thinking to yourself, I have no idea what she's talking about, don't worry, we will cover it in detail. Day 2, tomorrow morning, we are going to talk about those kind of shorter term skills. So we'll be going over conscious spending and how that can benefit you. And I will share some no spending examples and tips. When we say no spending, we aren't saying you put a lock on your accounts for the month and $0 go out. We are talking about really limiting and being more thoughtful about that discretionary spending. So I'll give some examples and tips for that. And then we'll go over some ways to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah. So we have lots planned for you that should be super helpful. So we're going to talk about, like Jen said, how to spend less, but we're still going to take care of our needs, obviously, right? So you guys know us maybe a little bit. If you're newer to the Female Finance Collective, we'll just give a quick overview and then also let you know that both Jen and I have new videos kind of introducing ourselves and our money story for you in the Start Here course in the classroom. So check those out. Because the FFC is really about building a relationship so we can learn to manage and our money together, feel confident together. So I'm Sybil Hall. I'm just so grateful that you're here. Today's November 1st. It's my birthday month. I turn 49 this month at the end of the month on the 30th. And I just love helping women learn how to take care of their finances, learn how to meet their dreams by taking control and learning to get confident with money. I wasn't confident with money for a long time. I was a part-time teacher, not making a lot. And that probably taught me how to, live a pretty simple and minimalist life. But I had to teach myself. I had to learn how to build wealth and feel worthy of wealth. And I've done that. And I'm so glad that I can be here to help you do the same. Jen, you want to give us a little intro?
Sure. So I'm also really excited to be here. I love the Female Finance Collective and the concept of all of us working together in a community to support each other. I think that's a valuable way to approach pretty much anything in life, and particularly when it comes to money, because finances and money can feel kind of lonely. It can feel like we're in it all by ourselves and nobody understands, and we're the only one who's feeling this way. And the truth is, we're not, right? So many of us are in the exact same situation. And so I love being part of the community where we can really come together and kind of break out those, I guess I'm going to call them stereotypes, right? Where we keep money to ourselves, we don't talk about it, and we all just like suffer in silence when it
Right.
comes to not understanding our finances, right? So, I started out, I just really struggled with debt for a long time and figuring out how to create a budget, how to manage the money that I had. I didn't know how to pay off my debt. And because I was embarrassed, because I honestly felt like I was the only one in my friend group who could understand, or the only one who was dealing with this, I never asked for help. I never reached out to anybody. I didn't know, we didn't have the same online resources then that we do now, right? And I
Right.
didn't even know where to start. So I just kept struggling and struggling. And my goal now is for other women to not have to struggle the way that I did. So I either want to help prevent you from getting in that situation at all, right? That would be ideal. Or I want to help women who find themselves in that situation get out of it more quickly than I did, right? I was just suffering and feeling overwhelmed by it for a really long time, and I don't want anyone else to go through that. So that's my passion behind the Female Finance Collective.
Yeah, and we're just like humbled that you're here with us and that you feel safe and are opening up, in the community tab with us. That's how we're going to make progress, right? We need to know what you're working on. We need to build a relationship. We need to feel comfortable because it's really hard talking about money. But both Jen and I have done that in different ways and are doing that now with you, and it works. And it's probably, I would say, pretty necessary for everybody to do because there's so much mindset stuff behind money, right, Jen? Like you just get caught in your head and you end up catching yourself talking negatively or not feeling worthy or things like that. And just by talking about it and knowing you're not alone, because you aren't. Not only the women in the Female Finance Collective right now, but we're trying to grow because women feel alone. You nailed it, Jen. Like women feel alone and we aren't. But once we find our people that we can talk to, it feels so much better and it's so much easier. I don't know. I think about like this might be a little bit too personal, but we're a group of women here. Like I had some miscarriages when I was trying to get pregnant, and that was so hard, and I felt so alone. But once I started talking about it, I couldn't believe how many people also have had something or, infertility
Mhm.
problems with pregnancy and such. And I like was so glad that I talked about people with it, but it was really, really hard for me to do. And I feel like money is a similar way. Like we have similar problems, we have similar questions, we have similar things, but we think we're the only ones, and that's not true. So we're so glad you're here taking action and talking and learning with us because it's probably at least the fastest way forward. Right, it accelerates things if nothing else, which I know it does more than that as well. It's such an emotional thing too, right? And when you know that you're in it with somebody else and with other women, it's so much easier to handle those emotions, because we can handle them together and we can feel the feels together and celebrate the successes together and wins together. So as Jen said today, these are our goals. Okay. Why how to make time for your money. You do have to put in the work. I wish I could say you can just watch our courses and you'll magically have your money come out on the other side in a better place in your brain, but it doesn't work that way. We're doing our part to share with you some teachings and some courses and learning and community and these challenges. And now it's your turn to step up and take action. So we're going to talk about like that time piece, because that's a big part of it, as well as the 50-30-20 framework. Okay, Jen, you want to talk us a little bit through this part?
Sure. So whenever any of us start anything new, I think it's really important to emphasize the why. So when I was a classroom teacher, I realized after the first couple of years, kids are going to do more of what I'm asking. They're going to understand. They're going to feel a little more invested if I explain why I'm asking them to do something. And I also find myself, I think I'm fairly inquisitive and I ask why all the time. And I ask my husband all the time, why do you do that? Why are you? And I know he finds me so annoying when I ask that, but I'm most of the time not asking why to be obnoxious or annoying. I'm asking it because it helps me gather information and understand. It helps me understand why people are thinking that way or why they're doing things. So I think it's really important anytime we start something new or we like are learning something new to ask the why piece, right? It makes it easier to invest when we understand why we're here or why we're doing that specific task or challenge. So why no spend November? Why did Sybil and I think this was a good idea? So first of all, we want the kind of the whole background of it is that we're thinking we're approaching the holidays. It tends to be a time where most of us overspend, right? And maybe we don't overspend in the sense that we've planned for it and we've got the money, but a lot of us overspend because we don't plan for it. Right? We're like, okay, here comes the holidays. All right, here's my list of people I give gifts to. Here's a list of people that I give additional like tips or gratuities to at this time of year. Here are the people that I, really appreciate. So I send things into my kids' teachers, like, right, you get this whole list. And we spend far more money in kind of the end of November to end of December timeframe than we do the rest of the year. We're going to parties. We want new outfits for those, right? We've just got all of these things going on, host gifts and everything. And so we want all of us to approach this time of year with a plan. If you have a plan, then you are far more likely to spend money you weren't planning to spend, right? Money that wasn't really on your radar. If you plan ahead, you can cut back spending in certain categories to leave a little bit of extra to put towards that holiday, budget. We'll just call it like a little budget or a bucket of money that you want to kind of create for the holiday spend. So that's kind of what we were thinking. If we can create a plan, we can approach the big spend that's upon us with a little bit more thoughtfulness than just like, all right, let's just have at it. We'll just head out for Black Friday and start start the spree. And I've had years like that before where I was like, you know what? I love this. I love to give gifts. It's like, that's kind of my love language, to give gifts to people. And I didn't have a plan and I would inevitably overspend. And then I would start the new year off feeling really frustrated. So I'm skipping ahead here, but we want you to start the new year off feeling financially confident and not feeling like you open your bill or I'm like old fashioned opening it. You open the email and see your bill and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's how much I put on my credit card this month. Or you see your bank account balance and it's so much smaller than you want it to be. We don't want you to start the new year off feeling like already overwhelmed financially. We want you to start it off feeling like, look at me. I like really did this. I created a plan. I protected my budget. I kept myself from overspending, from getting myself into this hole that's going to feel frustrated and overwhelming. So that's kind of what we're here. We're here to like create a plan so that everything stays positive and everything feels good. And it doesn't feel, we don't want our budget to feel restrictive. We don't want it to feel like a punishment. We want it to feel like we're prepared and ready to take on this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking about all the holiday things that I spend on, right? Like it really is that you shared a nice list there. And so preparing for that and 1 month ahead is totally adequate when we're making a plan and we're actually spending time and thinking about it. That's what you're doing right now with us. You're spending time thinking about your money. That is crucial in moving forward with your money. Absolutely.
So, how we want to get started with this is we want to create a plan. Starting with a plan for anything, whether you're trying to eat better or save money or exercise or anything you want to do, right? Clean your house, organize. Having a plan is what sets us up for success. We know where we're going to start and we know where we want to end up, and we put some steps in between to help us understand how we're going to get there. So we want to create a plan so that we feel successful. And again, this time of year is really unique. It is a time of year where most people, and we know this doesn't apply necessarily to everybody, but we know this is a time of year where most people have a unique amount of money that they're spending. I already listed off a bunch of things, but a bunch more came to mind. Like there's also special events, like there's the special Santa train and the ice events at some of the like fancy hotels will have those special events that you can pay to go. There's like all of those little things that just really start to add up, right? So if we think ahead before we get there and we have this plan, we'll be far more successful. So what we can really recommend to you, and Sybil's going to give you some more like nuts and bolts kind of black and white strategy for creating this plan coming up. But we just really want you to think forward and really kind of put some stuff down on paper. Who am I going to give gifts to? How much money do I want to spend on these people? What are the special holiday events we're going to go to this year? And maybe you put 10 down and you're like, once you start to think about it ahead, you're like, that is a crazy amount of money. Hold on. Let's let my kids vote for the top three. Or, as a family, let's just pick two that we really want to do. So you're still getting the fun out of the holiday season, but you're being really thoughtful in advance instead of later. You're like, oh my gosh, I bought online tickets for 10 super expensive events and now here I am, right? And so I also think that on the like mindset and feelings side of it, they mean more and you can really put more into them when you just choose like two or three things that are really going to be special and fun instead of feeling like we're rushing from one event to the next, like what's tomorrow. So I think there's also an element of creating a plan where it's almost like a calendar of how am I going to spread the fun out? How am I going to spread this joy of the season out, but also spread out my financial elements as well. So I just think creating a plan where you take some time and put things down on paper, whether you handwrite it or you type out a little budget spreadsheet for the holidays. We also have a holiday budget planner that's free. We're happy to give that to you if you want it. Where you can really be thoughtful about these are the people I want to give gifts to. This is my budget for them. This is some gift ideas, and really kind of create that plan ahead of time so that you are ready to take it on and it doesn't just sneak up on you at the end.
Yeah, and I printed out the holiday planner that Jen's mentioning that's in the community. And tomorrow we're going to talk more specifically about that and moving forward with our plans as well. Today we'll talk a little bit more about the big picture so we can make a better plan tomorrow.
All right. So when you create this plan, we're protecting our budget. The holidays are a time that we want to I just said we want to overspend. No, I mean, sometimes, sure, right? It's fun. I'm like, look at this cool thing. Look at this thing. I don't really want to create debt for myself, but I want to spend that money for those gifts, for those people, for those experiences, right? So we tend to overspend and we want to protect our budget. So by planning ahead, we can adjust our budget, adjust our spending. So maybe in the month of, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I'm going to give more specific examples tomorrow, but maybe instead of, maybe you normally go out to eat like 3 nights a week or you order takeout, twice a week. Maybe in November, you're like, okay, I'm only going to get takeout once a week because I'm going to start dedicating money towards my holiday bucket. So my once a week takeout is going to save me, $40. And I'm going to say $40 from each week is going straight to my holiday budget. We're going to protect that so that we're not overspending at the end. We're kind of like planning ahead. We're putting on a little armor on our budget so that it doesn't just explode and spending goes crazy. Maybe we're going to buy less snacks at the grocery store and be just like a little bit more thoughtful when we spend there so that we have a little bit more money left in our grocery budget at the end of the month that we can dedicate towards like the special food we want to make for a party or something like that. So we're just going to plan this way to protect it. And again, Sibyl's going to give you some really clear like visuals on what this looks like and how to do this so that you don't come out at the end like, well, I didn't even think about my budget. I just kind of spent. And I think that's the trap I would fall into is I would spend without even considering any sort of budget. It's just like, here we go.
Yeah, I have a confession to make. That's how I've done every holiday season. So this year I'm changing it with you. And I'm going to need you to hold me accountable. But Jen, you posted in the community, I think it was yesterday, the day before, a post about how you didn't order takeout, even though
Yeah.
you like really wanted to. I was like, go, Jen. I totally can relate to that situation. And then you asked us a question. You said, what other ways are you trying to spend less? And it was kind of like, I think a sneak peek to this challenge. I love that. Getting us into the new month. I've always struggled on the first of a new month for some reason. I know some people love it. I don't know. I'm kind of like, it's November now. But anyway, I wrote on there that one thing that came to mind when I read through your post, and that's what I love about our community is like, oh, Jen did that, I can do that or something different, right? Was to kind of like what I ended up going and doing was pushing. I don't know if you guys have like Amazon Save and Subscribe or Subscribe and Save, I think it is,
Yeah.
where you get something every month or every 3 months and you get it for like, it's not that much cheaper, but people like me, I like the little bit of cheaper. So we have a lot of our dog things on there. We have our dog food, which obviously I wouldn't want to prolong, like I need that at the right time. But we also have like our dog treats and, even a couple toys because we kind of know his pacing on like tearing through them. But anyway, I went on there and I just pushed some back because you can like cancel the next months or whatever. And so that was one way that I was like, I'm going to spend less this month on just the non-essentials for the dog. And I'm going to do it just by going into Amazon and pushing those things back. And so for the first time, yay me, I was like protecting my budget so I can spend more, next month. And January can be expensive too. I know people spend for New Year's Eve and such too.
Yep.
Speaking of
Okay.
January.
That's speaking of January, right? And so the real key here is we want to avoid like I believe that there is a really big letdown that happens in January emotionally, like all these holidays, we blow everything up. We have all of this stuff back to back to back. Like I actually kind of think it starts with Halloween. It started with what we had last night. It's like this big fun thing. I don't know about where you live, but my neighborhood, like all the parents were out, all the parents were dressed up in costumes. There was like herds of kids everywhere. It was like this big event, right? It was fun. And so that kind of kicks it up. Then we're going to start rolling into Thanksgiving. Then we're going to get into December. That's all kinds of holidays in December, right? All the way through the end of December and into the beginning of January. So we just really like this time of year sets us up for really a ton of fun, but then also a letdown a little bit in January. We don't want to contribute to that letdown or that stress by overspending during this time, overindulging, if you will, in like our finances. And then when we get to January, we're already kind of like, ugh, the weather's not as good, right? there's not as many fun things going on. This is kind of like sometimes it's nice to have a little downtime, right? But there is like a little bit of a letdown. You put
Uh-huh.
your decorations away and everything just feels a little different. And then if we add to that financial overwhelm of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay off all the money I spent? Like now I really can't buy. I have to cut back even on my needs for the next 3 months to like make my payments or pay things off. Or, I've really stretched my emergency or my stockpile money because I was trying to cover some of this. Now I need to build that back up. We don't want you to enter 2025 with additional debt. We want to be no additional debt, and we want to feel financially confident. Whenever we achieve anything that we're working on, right? Whenever we achieve any goal at all, we instantly feel more confident about it, right? If you're like, I'm going to eat a healthy breakfast every day for a week, by the Friday, when you finish that healthy breakfast, you are like, I killed it, right? I did
So
it.
true.
Now I feel more confident. Next week, I'm going to do this again. So the same is true with our finances. If you can create this plan, protect your budget, follow some guidelines, and then stick with it, you're going to feel so much more confident about your finances when you get to January than if you just sort of were like, forget it, I'm just going to spend like crazy. And then we're not building any of that skill, right? We're not building any of our financial confidence. We're not building up our budgeting skills or any of that because we're just ignoring everything. So we really want we want to keep like the negative out of this. And we really just want to focus on the positive and starting the new year off feeling really good about how we wrapped this year up.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about that. I'm really pushing hard with my finances to start January pretty feeling good and confident, like you said, feeling good about it. Okay, hopefully everyone's doing okay out there. We're going to keep going. Um, so all that we've been talking about, you're probably thinking, that sounds great. Yeah, I agree. But I don't have time for that. I'm working even harder right now. I'm taking on another shift this holiday season just to pay for my expenses or to pay down my debt. It's even busier this already because we have events like Halloween. We have socials and parties we're going to. We have the year-end things we have to do. There's no way I can take on this challenge too and get there. It's okay if you're feeling that way, feel the feels. It's very normal. But there are ways. We're here to tell you that you can make time for your money. It's first making that decision to do so. Okay, so we're going to share some strategies here with you on how you can make that time for your money. And then we're going to get into our budgets and the numbers a little bit more. Okay. The reason this is here and it's worthy of your time and our time is because, like I said at the beginning, nothing's going to change if you don't make time to take action, think about things, learn, participate with us in this challenge. Nothing will change. You will stay in a state of overwhelm. You will stay in a state of, I can't do this, lack of confidence, right? But you can do this, and we're going to show you how. And this is a really crucial piece to start to grasp. Okay. So, first, we're going to talk about dreaming big. Like, why would we even want to carve out time in our busy schedules for our finances if they overwhelm me? Sorry, I don't. But when we dream big and we think about what it's going to benefit us in the future, we get motivated and becomes a lot easier. Okay, we're going to talk about strategies to specifically use so you can block time to do this work. I don't know if you're like me, but if you don't put it in your calendar or somewhere wherever you manage your time, it's not going to happen, right? And then we're going to talk about saving time with some money habits so you can also use that time you do put for money aside more efficiently. Okay. So, first we're going to talk about the idea of dreaming big, the motivation. So, if we're not ever dreaming, like some people, there's a book called Stupid Goals. And if we're not ever dreaming like super stupidly big, it's hard to really believe that we need to work on our finances, that we need to get there, right? So one example with the holidays for me that I've been pondering for the last couple of years is going up to the ice festival up in the mountains here in Colorado. It's a pricey event. There's some of those pricey events. There's also when we were little, when the kids were little, not me, we took them on a Georgetown train ride at the holidays, right? So there's some events that are like normal priced events, and then there's some events that are like a lot more expensive. And so I'm excited this year to actually like, we haven't done ice caves yet, but so I'm excited this year to actually like work out my budget because that's kind of a bigger dream for me for the holiday time. Like, am I going to do it this year? Or am I going to do it next year? And I feel overwhelmed by that, but it sticks there because I want to do it. But if I'm like dreaming big, like I actually want to do that in the next 3 years, and I'm going to carve out time to figure out what I can do this year. And then if it's not on this year's plan, maybe it's on next year's plan, right? This is my house here that we just bought. I don't know, 3 months ago or something now. And we had to dream big, right? To save enough money for the down payment. Interest rates are high, right? We bought at the peak of them, in fact. And so without dreaming big of finding the right house, we wouldn't have saved that extra money. I wouldn't have thought about how I can move some money from the stock market to a down payment, right? So that dreaming big is a really, really important aspect. I'm going to show you in a couple minutes when I jump over to the community where Jen has a great video, and she walks you through in the Wealth Builders stage, doing this kind of dreaming out. But I don't remember if you did 5 years or 10 years, Jen, but you had us think about the future and what we want and why we would want to set money goals and why we would want to put in the time and work to meet them, right? So this could be long term, but this can be right here for this little challenge. For me, it's for this challenge and figuring out when I'm going to get to those ice caves. Is it this year or next year? I have a hunch it's not this year, but when I start doing the numbers, I'll really know. And then I can say, okay, it's not this year and feel comfortable and confident in that decision. Okay. And your dreams and your finances are always, always evolving, right? And whether it's short term next month or it's long term 5 years from now, you are growing and changing, right? You're becoming more wise as you get older. I think we're getting more wise anyway, Jen, and everybody here. So we have to just remember that our dreams and our plans are ever evolving and growing and shifting. And that's okay. And actually, they should be, because if you're dreaming up the same thing as you were, X years ago, and it should have been met by now, then maybe you need to do a hard look and have a hard conversation with yourself about what you could do differently with your finances to get there, right? And I'm not saying I meet all my big, stupid dreams, but I know I can see progress towards them and I can see changes of what I actually want as I get there. So we believe at the Female Finance Collective that you need to set aside some time to do the money work. Okay. Last month, October was last month now, we had a challenge where if you participated in the community or classroom, did some learning twice a week for 20 minutes, right, Jen? That's what it
Yep.
was, two times a week for 20 minutes. We would donate $25 to No Kid Hungry on your behalf, because it's that important to us that you carve out some time and are learning, working, thinking, conversing about your money. Okay. So everyone has a different system, but the reality is we all need to carve out some time. We're recommending, so 2 times 20 minutes is 40 minutes a week, 40 to 60 minutes a week. If you can carve out that time, you are going to take action and start moving towards those money goals. In this case, our challenge of not spending beyond our needs is our money goal for the month. right? So we've got a goal. You don't have to worry about what your goal is. Your goal is to spend less, right, this month, so you can spend more next month or later. You could have kind of the second part of the goal however you want, but our community goal is to spend less this month together and encourage each other to do it. So you might use a digital calendar. You might use a notebook or like a planner where you date it. You might use a desk calendar. You might use a wall calendar. You might use a combo of calendars. I do. I use a digital. I also whiteboard every single day, right? And I have a weekly whiteboard. Like I need that much, and that's okay. I accept myself for that. You might use task management apps, maybe for work, and you use that also for your personal life. Phone reminders, alerts. It doesn't matter how, but what we need you to do is to commit right now and today to block some time for your money work. Okay. So start thinking right here, right now, and maybe we can, when I post this replay, we can comment below when we're doing our money work over the maybe next week, because today is a Friday. So let's comment below when we're doing our money work next week. And that will encourage each other, right? When I see Jen is like, I'm doing my money work on Wednesday, because it's a hump day and it's kind of a off day for me anyway, so I'm doing it on Wednesday around lunchtime. That motivates me, like she's doing it. Okay. I was trying to do Fridays and I realized Fridays is not a good day for me. Because I don't know, Fridays are tough. It's like, what is the best thing to do on Fridays? I'm not sure. But I kind of like the idea of Wednesdays. But anyway, let's comment below after we've had some time to think. When are we going to put in our 40 to 60 minutes next week to do this work? In particular, no spending this month. If that works for you, join in the challenge and we can all put that there. Okay. Doesn't matter how you do it, just block some time. You got to actually block it. You got to actually put it in that calendar or on that sticky note. If you don't use any of these, put a sticky note up on your desk, or, bathroom mirror is a good one too. I like to write on my bathroom mirror. So try that out. You just need a whiteboard marker, or they sell like wine glass markers. Those are just fancy whiteboard markers. Write it up there. I will do money once a week, 9 a.m. on Wednesdays or 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, whatever it is, write it down. Block that time and then dive into the Female Finance Collective and join in this challenge with us. Okay. And doing this is going to help us create healthy money habits. Okay. That's the whole goal, right? When we do things repetitively, it becomes a habit. It's not as hard anymore when it's a habit. It's just what we do. Our brain loves habits. Our brain loves to do the same thing over and over. So this goal that we have to spend less this month is our first go at building a habit of setting goals. Okay. We set it for you. You don't even have to worry about it. Okay. We're going to track our progress through the month. Tracking your progress shows you your growth and it helps you stay with it. I don't know about you, but I've tried to make new habits all the time. And if I don't track and celebrate that I actually did it, they often go away before it's actually a habit. Okay. And then we also want to prioritize our time saving tasks. Okay. There's automations and things we can do that save us money save us time when we're working with our money as well. Okay. That's a lot. Let me take a pause and kind of refresh what we've talked about so far. So we shared with you why we're doing this challenge. Our goal for this challenge is to spend less this month so we can spend more, save more, invest more, however you want to do the holiday planning or not on the other end, right? And we're going to need to carve out time to do the money work so we can meet those goals and our dreams. Goals doesn't fit right with everybody. I totally get that. I love goals and I hate them. I have a love-hate relationship with them. But dreaming might fit better. If it does, like dream that you can spend less this month, right? Or if goal fits better, set a goal that you're going to spend less this month. It doesn't matter. However, you need to convince yourself. We're doing the same thing and we're going to do it together. Okay. And in order to do that, we kind of need to know what we have coming in and what's going out, right? Like it's hard to say I spent less this month if we don't really know how much we spend on a typical month, right? It's hard to say next month is going to be so expensive because I'm going to these events and these parties and I'm hosting and all the holiday food. I have to buy a turkey and all those things. If you don't really know how much you spent last December, right? And so that's okay. So we have some options for you. And the one we're going to share with you at the last part of this workshop is the 50-30-20. If you've been in the coursework some in the classroom, you've probably seen this come up time and time again. Okay? Because in one way or another, we want you to understand your finances, understand your numbers, what's coming in, what's going out. What are you saving? Those are big, big chunks, right? And this framework is one way that you can do that. Okay? Because budgeting, I know that word even is hard for me. Setting, using a framework, thinking about categories of numbers, that's what budgeting is all about. It's about categories of numbers, right? How much do I spend on what I need? How much do I spend on groceries, what I want, etc. They help you reach your goals. Okay. We're going to look at this framework to save more this month so we can spend more later. And once you know that, and once you know your numbers, it's much easier to spend less. So I'm going to stop. Actually, I'm not going to stop sharing. I'm just going to stop sharing this slideshow for a moment. And I'm going to take you inside the community. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the community now? Okay, great. Thank you. So the classroom, I'm in the classroom tab, just got a brand new makeover and there's more to come. Jen and I are so excited about this. And so I just wanted to show you, we still have our Start Here module. Definitely the place to go if you're just new here or if you're coming back after a break. Like we totally get that. If you've been so busy and you're coming back after a month or so and you're like, I don't remember what I need to be doing. Go to the Start Here module and it will walk you through our classroom and community. But we've now got the courses laid out for you as the 3 separate courses. Okay, before it was the Foundation Builder course laid out across tiles, each module. Now what we've done is the foundational course is all here in this one module. Okay, so when you get in here, you'll see the 4 modules for the foundational course. Okay, and the reason I'm bringing you in here is because I want to show you and make sure you know about this. Jen really does an amazing job of walking us through how to track on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis here. She shows us how to set a budget. She shows us how to manage our debt. Sorry, if I click on some of these, you know that there are videos and such in there and worksheets, right? And then how to grow your savings, okay? What I'm going to share with you now, I'll put the links in the chat, but it's also here in the Grow Your Savings. Sorry, you can't see the bar and the thing anymore at the same time, but it's here in Grow Your Savings in the foundation course at the bottom. Okay, so this is your workbook that I'm going to be talking you through here in the next 10 minutes or so. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that you understand how the classroom works now. So then after you've worked through that, we've got our plan builder. This is where you're building a plan to really start thinking more medium and longer term. Okay. And we've got that here. And just a heads up, After you watch this video and take notes on our note taker, click this little check and it turns green. And then you know you've done this one. And then it starts tracking your progress. Remember I mentioned tracking? This is a great way to feel motivated. Look, I've done 11% of foundation builders. Now I'm going to watch this one. Okay, I've done, whatever percentage now, 22%. Okay. And then brand new, just today, is our Wealth Builder course. And so again, we have our little intro and then our 3 modules there for you. Okay, so that's really, really exciting. We've also heard your advice on kind of putting the resources all in one place. So you can check that out. That is growing and changing, still to be added to. And then now we've got our monthly theme challenges. Okay. The bottom, it still has some of the older stuff. We're going to continue updating this. And we're really excited to share with you some bonuses that you're going to be able to unlock at levels 4 and 7 that are coming to our membership soon. And that will be in there soon, and we'll let you know. But anyway, back to our 50, 30, 20 budget, which I have right here. And let me just grab the link to put it into the chat for you. So let me find the chat, put that in there for you. So there is the Google Drive link directly. And then let me go back over to this tab. And I want to also give you a Canva template link in case you like Canva. Because, and I'll add this to the course too. The reason I want to give you this one is because this is where I'm going to work. That's going to make your own copy. Okay, so don't hesitate to click on there. You don't have to have a Canva account, but if you want to make your own copy, you can, and then you can use it like a Google Doc. And that's how I'm going to use it today with you. So you can type right into it, but you can also print that PDF. Okay. I'm a little bit of a combo. I have some things printed. I do some things online. We want to try to give you those options. But budgets help you reach your goals. That's the reality, whether you like them or not. If you want to meet your goals, you want to meet your dreams, you got to have some kind of budget. This is one kind. Jen has shared another kind in our classroom. Okay. And they guide you. They don't restrict you. They just help you understand the numbers. Sometimes it's hard. You don't want to see those numbers. I totally get that. I think I made a post about it recently in the community. But our goal this month is no spending other than on our needs. So we're going to look at what our needs are in particular. Okay. And we're going to do that through the 50, 30, 20 budget. This budgeting tool could be called a million things. I like it to call it the prioritize your savings budget, because this 20%, and maybe it's 10% for you, maybe it's 30% for you. People on the FIRE movement are, upping it as high as they can go. So this is all about savings for those financial goals. Okay. So we want to look at our money, no matter how we budget, in categories. And this budget is just a framework. The percentages probably will be different for you, probably are different between Jen and I as well, right? But about 50% of our money needs to go to our needs. Like, these are non-negotiables. Can we negotiate how much, our mortgage or rent is? Sometimes. A lot of times we can't, right? So we need to have money to live in a house or an apartment, right? We need to pay rent or mortgage. We need to pay for insurance, health insurance, car insurance, things like that. We need to pay for things like groceries, right? We have to eat. Like, these are our survival things, but they're also somewhat of a lifestyle What's the life we want to live? What kind of house or apartment or neighborhood do we want to live in, right? So our needs are those expenses that are absolutely 100% essential. Okay. Then we have our wants. These are things we want to do. They're nice to have. They're important for our lifestyle, but they're not like absolutely essential. Okay. So these are things like your entertainment, your clothing, your travel, your Netflix subscription, right? They're nice to have. They make us happy. We're not saying cut out all wants, but acknowledge that they are different and you can sometimes sacrifice wants, which is what we're going to talk about for this month. Making a short-term sacrifice this month by spending less on our wants so we can spend more on our wants next month, right? Holiday events aren't a need either. But if I spend a little less this month, I can afford that ice cave experience for my family next month. And then the last percentage, whether it's 20% or 10%, or, if you're just starting out and getting out of debt, maybe it's 5%. That's okay. But we want to have some money allocated to our goals. We want to be able to pay off our debts. We want to be able to build our savings. We want to be able to invest in our future. Okay. So this framework or budget is a big picture one. Okay, thinking about the big, broad categories. So the first thing you need to do, and am I going to be able to type? Not in full screen, am I? The first thing you're going to need to do is to think about or find how much money is actually coming in each month. Okay, so that might be your salary, that might be your side job, that might be dividends in the stock market, that might be rental property, all the money that's coming into you. Okay, if you have like your insurance paid pre-tax, you need to put that back in here because insurance is a need that we're going to need to take out later. Okay, so for example, my family gets insurance through my husband's job, and we have that paid pre-tax straight out of his paycheck before his paycheck comes into our account, our bank account. Okay, so it's $1,000, maybe a little bit more for our family of four. Insurance is very expensive in the United States, even as a school teacher. And that $1,000 comes out. So his check doesn't have that $1,000 in it, but I need to put that back in to this number here. And the reason is because I need to be able to put here that this is a need. Insurance is a need for us, right? So we need to determine our needs. That's probably teeny for you. There we go. On the next page, we're just going to put in our needs. And you can either go look at that statement, do it. That's amazing. That's even a bigger step than I'm asking you to do right here. Or you can put in an estimate. Okay. You can fill out this entire budget on estimates right now or right after this call, before tomorrow's call, and get a fairly good idea of what your percentages currently are. So then that will help you see, where's my wiggle room? What do I actually not need? Because like Jen said earlier, when you start writing these things down and seeing the numbers, it's like, okay, yeah, I actually can go down to that. This is one I just did too. Netflix, we were on the cheapest plan. And so they got rid of it because they've added ads to their plans now. And so they're like, we're downgrading you and you're going to have ads. So I'm going from $12.99 a month to $6.99 a month with a few ads. And you know what? If I hate it after this month, I'll change it. Right? Like, but I'm going to save $6 this month by just taking that downgrade and seeing how it feels. And you know what's really interesting about it so far is that we can't figure it out, but we're watching Breaking Bad over again. And those are like hour-long episodes. They don't have any ads. But we were watching, I forget what it was called, something last night because my son was gone and he's watching Breaking Bad with us. It was a 20-minute show. And it had ads in it, but it's a newer one. So I'm wondering if the ads are in the new stuff, not the old. Anyway, sorry, I'm off task here, but there's things you can do. So car insurance, right? That was health insurance up there. Insurance, I can't type and think at the same time. Um, right, so we're just going to put in all of our needs here, okay? Those are estimates. I look at my numbers often, so I have them, but if you want to go look them up, look them up. If you want to just put them in as estimates, do so. Then you're going to total everything here. So I've got 5,200. And then I'm going to do a little bit of math. Okay. I'm going to take my income from the first page and I'm going to multiply it by 0.5 because that's how I'm going to figure out what the recommended 50% is of my income. Okay. So you're going to find your income, then you're going to put in some of your needs. And I can fill this out after the call pretty accurately, just with estimates, and then share mine with you tomorrow as well, if that would help. Then you're going to move on to your wants. Okay, now here we get to our Netflix, which is now, yay, only $6.99. Because if you're like me, you don't only have one, you have two. And I've just been looking at all my subscriptions recently, so I know how much they cost. But those are wants. Those are I could go without Max for a month. I can save 18 bucks right there, and I can add it again in December if I want. You know, like the kids cringe when I tell them that, and they cringed when I told them they're getting ads. And you know what? Bryson hasn't even noticed it because they're not showing up on his, and Karina hasn't said a word either. So but I'm going to put things here like clothing and what else is a want? Dining out.
Mhm.
I should have put groceries on my needs. That's a major need for us. Anyway, you get the point. We add it up. Here's how much I'm spending on my wants. Here's the 30% recommended based on my salary, my income coming in. Okay. Then we go to our savings. Okay. How much are we trying to save each month? Okay. One of my savings, one of my Acorns investments, I have at $46 a month. Oops, I put it in the wrong place. So that's Acorns. I'm saving 46 a month. It doesn't matter how big or small these savings are. If you're saving somewhere, put it here, right? Or if you're paying off $200 on your debt every month, put it here, right? These are our financial goals. We're going to put our savings, what we're doing. If it's zero right now, that's okay. That gives you a starting point. If it's negative right now because of debt, that's okay. You're in the right place because that's a starting point. It's not going to be there forever when you work with us. And then you're going to do that math again. You're going to find out what the recommended is. Okay, so why are we doing this with a no spend challenge? Well, because if we don't want to spend this month, we kind of need to, or we want to spend less, I should say, and we don't want to spend outside of our needs as much as possible, we need to know what we're spending on. Okay. So, and we need to understand that most of our money is going to have to go to our needs every single month, whether we like it or not. Okay. Some of our money can go to our wants, and some of our money can go to our goals. What we're going to work on is spending less in this number, whatever that percentage or number is for you. We're going to try to spend less in the wants this month. So that way we can build this up, even if it's $46 more, like that savings account I have, to spend next month if you want to. Or, really, Jen, we could be like, that felt so good that we spent so much less. That's now a habit, and I don't even need to spend it. I'm going to spend half of it next month and save the other half, right? But if we look at this as our financial goals, and this is our needs and this is our wants, that's what we want to do, right? And so we can put down here the recommended that we found, my actual that we found, and then the actual percentage that we found, and then the actual number of dollars here. Okay. And then the last sheet is some reflection, because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. This is hard work. And I'm proud of you for doing it. I'm proud of you for showing up. I'm proud of you for watching this video later, because without this work, and trying it. Maybe this isn't the perfect thing for you, but I promise you, if you do this tonight or today sometime, this month sometime, it's going to help you start to understand your numbers and your finances. I promise, promise, promise. Because our brain thrives on knowing these things rather than making assumptions. Okay. Oops. I just went to the wrong place. Where'd that window go? Oh, I
You
minimized
minimized
it.
it.
Thank you. So let's get back here real quick and close this up. I know we're already beyond an hour. Oh my gosh. We're going to try to spend more because now we know once we've done this 50, 30, 20, or once you've gone back in and are doing tracking and budgeting, you know your numbers a little bit better and you know what you're spending on and what you might want to cut back on. Okay. So we're going to try to cut back on those wants so we can boost our savings to use next month for the holidays. And these small adjustments make a big impact. I've shared some small ones that I've done with you today, and I'm excited about them. I mean, my whole financial career started with couponing blog. I love coupons. I got them in the mail yesterday for King Supers. They're like targeting what we buy now. So it's such a smart strategy. So you end up buying more of what you already buy there because you get these coupons. Every little bit helps, and you're doing it. We're proud of you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so I can just check in with everybody and see how today went. Maybe you want to put into the chat one takeaway. What are you taking away from today? Or if you're watching this live later, write down in the comment. What are you taking away today? What are you going to try to do this month? What are you excited about? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments below.
I'll give a takeaway. So I think that a big one for me is just getting back to being conscious about my spending. That is so my husband and I don't use the 50 30 20. We do in a way, but it's because right now we have a different focus, right? And so just for us right now it doesn't make sense, but maybe next year it totally will. So I think the biggest challenge for me is that I try to always be conscious about my spending, but I let that habit go all the time. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I see my statements and I'm like, Jen, get back to it. And then I get back to that kind of conscious or thoughtful spending that I'm going to talk a little bit more about tomorrow. So I think the biggest takeaway for me is getting back to that. It is not hard to do. And when I do it, I find I spend less and I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel like I'm not regretting. I'm like, oh, I really wish I had that thing. Most of the time, I'm saving several $100s just by really thinking about, do I need this? Do I really want this? Can I buy this another time and it'll still be okay? So I think that is a big takeaway is to just be thoughtful about that. And I kind of just talked in circles about the 50, 30, 20. If you have no framework and you've never really set up a budget, this tool is awesome. So it's a really, really good place to start. I only said that we don't use it because I can't share mine with you or else I would. But it's a really good place to start so that you can really see everything right in front of you and get the breakdown. And if you're like, oh, I'm saving 1%, I kind of felt like I was saving 5, and you would have felt great about 5, then that's when you can start to make some choices. So even if you don't want to stick with using that all the time, it's a really good tool just to give you a good picture about where you are. And we have done that piece, right? I just don't actively have it to share, but I just want people to know that by just consciously thinking about it on a regular basis and having done it to get started, that will make a huge impact and a huge difference.
I completely agree. I like to do the 50, 30, 20 every 6 months, maybe. Because I just like those big categories. I'm a big picture thinker, I think too. It's a bit easier for me. I love that, Jen. Thank you for sharing. And as always, here in the Female Finance Collective, we're sharing ways you can do things, ways you can think about things. And we know that there's not a one size fits all. And I think that's actually our strength, right? We're two women in the world, just living our lives just like you,
Right.
sharing what we've learned, what we know how to do. But let us know if you're using this 50-30-20 already. Maybe you have, because we've had it in the community for a while and we've done some videos on it. Let us know if you want to try it out tonight before tomorrow's call. I encourage you to do so. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it with estimates. And we really look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.
Bye.